Hi, it's Kim McGrath with Expressions of the Universe, and I'm back with another astrology tutorial. This time, just a quick 101 about mundane astrology, some of the basics. It will help you to read a chart and decipher for yourself what appears in a chart and different things that you should be looking for in a chart from a mundane perspective. And so I wanted to present this specifically because I'm producing a lot of different content. Stay tuned for that. And this will help you to understand what it is that I'm presenting. And you can come back and screenshot, refer to this video in helping you to learn how to read an astrology chart and just to understand the planets better and the houses better and the different things that astrologers look at when they are reading a chart. Let's get started on that. I'll share my screen. So Astrology 101, Mundane Astrology Basics. As always, my disclaimer that the content in this presentation is for entertainment, enjoyment, and folly, and the program is for informational purposes only, etc., etc. So what is mundane astrology? It's a branch of astrology that focuses on worldly events, particularly those related to politics, government, and laws affecting nations, states, cities. The term mundane derives from the Latin word mundus, meaning the world. This field of astrology involves creating astrological charts or horoscopes for countries and significant events, such as treaties or inaugurations, elections, weather-related events, political figures. It's to forecast trends and major occurrences impacting those entities. Practitioners analyze various factors such as planetary cycles, eclipses, and significant celestial events to make predictions about political developments, economic conditions, natural disasters, and other societal phenomenon. So here is an astrology wheel, a basic, and it's broken into 12 sections, 12 pieces of pie. And I'm keeping this extremely basic. But each section is called a house. And every house has a basic theme or flavor. Depending on whether you're doing a personal astrology reading, a mundane astrology reading, a horary astrology reading, every piece of pie has a different meaning. Now, for personal astrology, these would be the basic meanings, with the first house meaning you and your appearance, the first impressions that you give, your head, your face, the way you look. The second house is money, possessions, income, assets, also the things that you value. These are just basic meanings. Third house, siblings, school, short trips. Goddess, neighborhood, communication. Goddess, I never heard that before. And I'm just seeing that for the first time. So for the fourth house, it's the past, it's the father, it's also the mother. It's interchangeable. Home, family, lineage, and the private things that happen in your life. Fifth house, children, creativity, pleasure, romance, good fortune. That says sex, but I think that's uncommitted sex, whereas eighth house would be committed sex, intimacy. Sixth house, health, wellness, routines, illness, work, and pets. Seventh house, relationships, marriage, and partner. Eighth house, death, debt, taxes, couples money, inheritance, and psyche, but it's also shared intimacy. Ninth house, travel, study, religion, international, faith, divine, God, things that are overseas. 10th house is career, fame, reputation, profession, public. Also, mother and father can go into the 10th house interchangeably. 11th house, dreams, hopes, wishes, community, good spirit, friendships, groups, and luck. And then the 12th house, retreat, escape, hidden things, release, the unconscious. It's also jails and hospitals, self-undoing and suffering can be seen in the 12th house. Now, when I'm looking at a basic astrological chart and wheel, there are certain points within the chart that I have marked off. The ascendant, the midheaven, the descendant, and the IC. Those are the angles. And the angles are very important, especially not only in the natal chart, because there's a concentration of energy, but also in the transits and things that are passing through those areas. It brings activation to these areas. And what are these points specifically? So the ascendant, which you can see right here, the AS, that's how it would show up in a chart. Typically, it's on the cusp of the 1st and 12th house. It is also known as your rising sign. This rising sign is the astrological sign that was rising on the eastern horizon at the exact moment of a person's birth. One of the reasons why it's so important to know an exact time of birth, because that will drive the entire chart. It plays a crucial role in shaping an individual's birth chart, which is the map of the sky at that specific time and location. The ascendant signifies various aspects of a person's identity, including their physical appearance, their outward personality, and how they present themselves to the world. Sorry, that little piece got covered up. Oh, sorry. Keep saying that. The key aspects of the ascendant: your physical appearance, personality projection, your life path influence. It's your chart ruler, and cultural significance. So in physical appearance, the ascendant is often associated with how individuals are perceived physically. It can influence traits such as a body type, facial features, and overall demeanor. So even though you may be born, for example, as a Capricorn sun sign, which could be very serious and stoic, if you have Gemini rising, the world is going to see you as somebody that's possibly extremely social and extroverted. It's kind of like the mask that we wear out into the world. And it's not necessarily who we are at our core on the inside. So personality projection, that's how this ascendant reflects how individuals express themselves, as I just explained, in social situations and how they interact with others. Conversely, if someone is born, say, with a Gemini sun sign, you would expect them to be very social. But if they have Capricorn rising, they could be very introverted. Actually, maybe with any earth sign. And so it's hard to just see somebody at face value and know their personality and think, oh, this is going to be their sun sign, because you have to remember how they're presenting is really their ascendant, most likely. The life path influence. The ascendant sets the stage for the entire birth chart by determining where the first house begins. And this position influences various life themes and personal development throughout an individual's life. This would ring true for a country or a place in the world or an event. The chart ruler, so each ascendant has a ruling planet that governs its characteristics and influences other aspects of the birth chart. For example, if someone has a Gemini ascendant, Mercury would be their chart ruler, impacting their communication style and thought processes. So in this example that I have here, Aries is the ascendant, therefore Mars would be the chart ruler. And then you would go and look and see, well, what house is Mars falling in? Because that would have a prominent or, influential impact on that person's life and personality and the things that happen to them. And then there's cultural significance. In astrology, different cultures may interpret or emphasize the significance of the ascendant differently, but it remains a foundational element across various astrological traditions. And what makes me think of is like Vedic astrology is very different than tropical astrology, which is what I'm and most of us are accustomed to. So then there's the midheaven, as you can see, and that's usually right up at the top of the chart. It's somewhere either in the 10th or 9th house, or straddling the two. And the midheaven, which is often abbreviated as MC, is from the Latin medium celli, meaning middle of the sky. It's a significant point in an individual's astrological birth chart. It represents the highest point in the chart and is located at the cusp of the 10th house, which is associated with career, public image, social standing. The midheaven symbolizes one's aspirations, ambitions, and how they are perceived by society. It reflects not only professional goals, but also the legacy one aims to leave behind. The sign that occupies this position can provide insights into an individual's approach to their career and how they wish to be recognized in their professional life. In summary, the midheaven serves as a guide for understanding one's public persona and long-term career objectives, making it a crucial element for those exploring their astrological profile. Then we have the IC, or the Imium Celli, which translates to bottom of the sky, and it's a significant point in the astrological birth chart as it represents the cusp of the 4th house. So you'll see here, in this case, it is in the 3rd house. So it's typically in the 3rd or 4th or very close to the cusp. It's directly opposite the midheaven. The IC symbolizes one's roots, home life, family, relationships, early childhood experiences. It reflects the most private aspects of an individual's life, including their emotional foundation and sense of security. So for a country or an event, it's not an individual person, but it's the collective of that country or that government and their roots and where they came from are all in that IC. So think of this, since I'm describing mundane astrology, think of persons as far as celebrities or political figures or country leaders, countries themselves, the events that happen. This is also weather-related events, or, you know, anything big that you'll see in the news. A chart can be drawn up and we can apply all of these different points and aspects and planets to any date, time, and place. So the IC is associated with family and heritage. It's your familiar background, your ancestral lineage. It can indicate how family dynamics have shaped you as an individual or a country, or, you know, other people whose charts you may be analyzing. It's also the home environment in which you were raised and grew up. It encompasses not only physical living conditions, but also emotional safety within those spaces. The nurturing and parenting, the IC often relates to how you were nurtured or how that country wishes to nurture its people. The emotional depth delves into the subconscious layers of a person or a country's psyche, highlighting hidden emotions, maybe childhood traumas, personal history that influence adult behavior. And then also personal foundations, as it marks the base of one's chart. The IC signifies foundational beliefs and values that guide an individual or a country throughout its journey. Also, the fourth house is known as the end of the matter when looking at and trying to predict situations of a country or a person. Then we have the descendant, the DC. So that is opposite of the ascendant. This symbolizes relationships and partnerships. It is often known enemies. So the dynamics in relationships, the DC, which typically falls right on the cusp of the seventh house, reveals qualities that an individual admires and desires in others. It indicates the traits that one may lack or feel less comfortable expressing themselves, so then they seek that out in others, leading to a natural attraction to those who embody these characteristics. It is opposite of the ascendant. While the ascendant reflects how individuals present themselves to the world and their self-image, the descendant highlights what they seek from others. This axis signifies a balance between personal identity and interpersonal connections. Influence on partnerships, the DC can provide insights into what one needs for fulfillment in relationships, guiding them towards partners who complement their personality and help them grow. It often suggests areas where individuals may need to develop or embrace certain qualities. And I know that from my own chart. The astrological significance is each zodiac sign associated with the descendant carries specific meanings that influence relationship preferences and dynamics. For example, a person with a Sagittarius descendant may be drawn to adventurous and free-spirited partners. And then the last point, which is one of my favorites, and it's a little complicated in a sense. A lot of people, I find, a lot of other astrologers don't use it. And in simple terms, it's where fated and karmic people and helpers can come in to your life. The vertex, often abbreviated as VX, is a significant point in astrology that represents a fated or karmic connection within an individual's chart. It is not a planet or celestial body, but rather an abstract point formed by the intersection of the ecliptic and the prime vertical. The vertex is typically located on the right side of the natal chart and is often found in the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th houses. Fated connections. The vertex is associated with events and relationships that occur through no effort or will of our own. It signifies moments of destiny where individuals may encounter people or situations that have a profound impact on their lives. Water. Auxiliary descendant. The vertex functions similarly to a secondary descendant, reflecting how we interact with others and what kind of people we attract into our lives. It provides insight into relationships and connections that feel significant or destined. The activation. The energy of the vertex is activated when transiting planets make aspects to it, or when another person's significant astrological points, such as their sun, moon, or ascendant, align with your vertex. This activation can lead to transformative experiences and pivotal moments in one's life. Interpretation by house placement. If the vertex falls in the 5th house, encounters are related to romance and creativity. In the 6th, fateful meetings in work and daily routines. 7th, significant partnerships and one-on-one connections. And the 8th is intimate relationships involving shared resources. Now, the anti-vertex, I don't have an image for it, but it's the direct opposite of wherever the vertex shows up in the chart. And it reflects more personal aspects of one's journey, including inner desires and self-discovery. In summary, the vertex serves as a powerful indicator of fate within an astrological chart, highlighting areas where individuals may experience significant connections and transformative events throughout their lives. Then I have a breakdown here of what the different houses mean. So you saw in the wheel the basic meanings of each house. This goes a little bit further, specifically for mundane astrology, because the first house represents, so say we're looking at a country. We want to find out more about this country, and you'll see this in my upcoming video. I'm going to present a breakdown of the United States as a country, starting out where it originated and only spending a little bit of time on that because I'm really concerned about where the United States is going in the future as a country, because a lot of changes are happening. And astrologically, I can see a lot of changes happening. So, just as an example, that first house will represent the nation as a whole, reflecting its general conditions of health and wealth. It's the basic identity of the nation and how it perceives itself. And then the ruler of that house and its placement in the chart provide insights into key topics that shape national identity. A dignified ruler indicates prosperity, while a debilitated ruler suggests troubles. The second house pertains to national wealth, encompassing banks, stock exchanges, markets, trade, both physical wealth and overall financial status of the populace. The third house governs telecommunications, transportation, including roadways, the infrastructure, the news media, relationships with neighboring nations. It reflects communication infrastructure and trade activities within the nation. And then the fourth house relates to the land, crops, natural resources, buildings, weather conditions, and the people residing in the country. It encompasses both physical geography and human-built structures while also influencing weather patterns. Moving on, the fifth house covers the arts, entertainment, sports, children, including birth rates, high society, ambassadors representing the nation. It highlights cultural aspects and recreational activities within society. The sixth house addresses public health issues, epidemics, military patterns, civil service roles, workers' rights, labor unions. It focuses on health-related concerns for citizens as well as military actions taken by the nation. The seventh house deals with foreign affairs and international relations between countries. Additionally, it includes marriage and divorce rates among citizens as a reflection of societal partnerships. The eighth house represents death duties, such as taxes related to inheritance, public mortality rates, financial relations with foreign countries, including debts, and how a nation handles death-related services. It's also the taxes of the nation and the overall economy as well. The ninth house governs shipping routes, both sea and air traffic, religion, including churches, the law courts, universities, laboratories for scientific research, and international academic communications. I would also add that it also indicates foreign entities overseas, depending on what you're seeing up in that house. The 10th house signifies government institutions at all levels, including royalty, if applicable. It reflects national reputation, both domestically and internationally, as it pertains to governance visibility. The 11th house rules legislative bodies such as parliaments, Congress, the Senate, city councils, along with legislation itself. It also encompasses friendships, alliances that a nation maintains with others, and the dreams, hopes, and wishes of that nation. Finally, the 12th house governs prisons, hospitals, including long-term care homes, the secret enemies, espionage activities against the country, as well as hidden groups like cults or gangs operating under the radar, treasonous activity, the suffering of the country, the self-undoing of the country. All of those shadow things are in the 12th house. And then we have the planets. So you have all of the houses, and then what are you going to do? You have to place the planets within those houses. So here are the meanings of each planet. You would then, if I go back, say we have the sun in the 11th house. You would add the meaning of the sun and blend that with the meaning of the 11th house. So the sun represents leaders and authority figures such as prime ministers, presidents, monarchs, and other individuals in positions of power. It symbolizes national heroes and champions. So it's always important to see where is the sun showing up in a country's chart. Then the moon signifies the general populace, including women and children. The moon reflects public sentiment and attention, indicating what issues are currently important to the masses. Mercury governs communication, related fields such as media, trade, intellectual pursuits, telecommunications, publishing, transportation, and commerce. And it also represents children. Venus is associated with women's issues, artists, athletes, diplomats, all forms of entertainment. Venus signifies peace and diplomacy, while also representing social factors related to marriage and family, money, and values. Mars represents men and military personnel, including soldiers and firemen. Mars is linked to conflict, war activities, impulsiveness, criminal behavior, and industries that involve fire or metalwork. Jupiter symbolizes judges, lawyers, priests, lawmakers, bankers, academics, and those involved in justice systems. Jupiter is concerned with truth and moral integrity within the society. Saturn represents elderly individuals as well as landowners and farmers. Saturn is associated with the natural resources, but also signifies death and illness within populations, goals, ambitions, and responsibility. Uranus indicates anarchists, activists, political dissidents, scientists, inventors. It embodies chaos and disruption, both in societal structures, riots or revolutions, as well as natural disasters, freedom and change. Neptune represents collectivist movements such as socialism or communism, along with mobs or gangs. Neptune is associated with illusions, delusions, which can manifest through fraud or escapist behaviors like drug use, lying, anything along those lines. It also is indicative of poison, floods, and hurricanes. When I say poison, poison water, polluted water. And then we have Pluto. I need to move my bar so I could read that. Pluto signifies those who operate in hidden realms, such as detectives or spies. It encompasses themes of violence and exploitation, but also transformation through destruction leading to renewal. Major changes are indicated by Pluto. So I also wanted to show you this table. It's decadence and DUADS, and I spell the DUAD with a U and not a W, but so we have our signs in the astrological wheel, but you can break those signs down even further depending on the degree. So say you have somebody who is an Aries at a 12, there are 12-degree Aries. You could break it down into 3 decans. So Aries at 12 degrees would have a flavor of a Leo. So you would combine that Aries energy with the Leo energy. You can even break it down further. So we said 12 degrees. So these are the DUADS. So I have an Aries, put my pointer on the Aries, and I want to go to where is 12 degrees. So it's also Leo. So it would be an Aries with a Leo decadent and a Leo DUAD. Say, for example, you have an Aries that is maybe at 18 degrees. So they have the Leo decadent. However, they have a Scorpio DUAD. So if you're just looking at somebody with a sun sign of, say, 18 Aries, you know that they have the basis of that Aries Mars energy. Then you'll add some of that Leo flavor to the personality with a little touch of Scorpio. So what I would say is somebody who is a go-getter, somebody that is a self-starter leader that likes to be center stage, and yet also very secretive with revealing everything all at once. They keep things to themselves. So that's how you could describe an Aries at 18 degrees. If you wanted to get that granular. However, when looking at mundane astrology, it's important to break down planets that are within the houses to really get a specific flavor if you're trying to make a prediction of something that is going to happen. And that's the only reason why I'm showing you this graph. If you're just doing something, if I'm doing something on the fly, I won't get this granular. I'm just going to look at something at face value. All right, so here we have an event coming up, October 11th. Pluto, which is our slowest planet, is getting ready to come out of retrograde and station direct. Why is this so important? Because Pluto is at its final degree of Capricorn, and we have been dealing with Pluto in Capricorn since 2008. So we're wrapping up this entire cycle for ourselves personally. So you want to look back from that time to now and think of all the things that have transformed in your life. Pluto takes 240 years to complete an entire cycle. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is because the United States is in its Pluto return. When the United States was born, it had Pluto in Capricorn. So that immediately tells me that now that Pluto is back in the same place where the United States was born, major changes are going to be taking place. This cycle in return in the US chart echoes the time period between 1770 and 1779, which we know there was an American Revolution, if you know your history. And so from the time of the grumblings to the revolution, fast forward to right after this time period, the Constitution was drawn up and the United States broke free from Great Britain and appointed its first president of the United States. But I'm not going to get into all of that. This is just a basic mundane astrology breakdown for you. So this Capricorn is going direct at 8:32 and 54 seconds p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. It's in the 8th house. So it very much has a lot to do with the money, the taxes, the economy, people's overall financial situation, plus the mortality rates as well. Now, this 29th degree, though, is in a Virgo DUAD, and I'll show you how I got that. So we have Capricorn. Pluto is in Capricorn, and it's at the 29th degree. So everything between 20 and 29 is a Virgo quad. And then a Virgo decan. And then if I need to find the DUAD, I go to Virgo and I'm going down to that final degree, and it would be Sagittarius. So it's a Virgo decan and a Sagittarius DUAD. So the Virgo themes equal food, health, mental health, commodities, nature herself. natural phenomenon, natural disasters, extreme weather, and possible effects on food and the food production and the commodities, obviously. And then that Sagittarius flavor is adventurous, expansive. It's about education, the land, countries, and travel, things that are overseas. Pluto, it is the planet of death, endings, and changes. In Capricorn, that is about old regimes, old structures, and mostly banking, finance, governments, and religion. Those are the old structures. And when Pluto is moving through a sector, it is crumbling down, removing everything so a new foundation can be built. More on this in my United States video that will be coming out soon. And that's all I have for you for that, for these basics. I think that was it. So I hope you liked this video, just giving you a little bit of an explanation of how I, as an astrologer, am looking at charts. These are the different points, and how I'm pulling in the meaning of the house, then the meaning of the planet, and furthermore, going to make those different connections to the planets. So when you have planets connecting, it's adding that extra energy. That will have to be probably for another video, but hopefully this explained enough to you so that when you are maybe watching one of my videos, you'll have a little bit of a better understanding. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will be back with more from me at Expressions of the Universe. See you.